Alright, we're going to use a nylon washer to insulate the input jack from the radio chassis. And here you can see I've glued a nylon washer to the back of the chassis. And we're going to fit the input jack onto this washer. Here we go ahead and screw the washer or the input jack onto the washer. And as you can see, the body of the input jack is isolated from the radio chassis, which will help reduce noise. Now let's go ahead and look at the pathway of the audio cables. The audio cables are passed up through the radio chassis. The audio output from the Bluetooth board goes to the auxiliary input and then out through the front of the chassis. The input to the amplifier is also passed through the chassis and out through the front. After considering several different options, I decided to go with an angle bracket to attach the on-off switch and the potentiometer to the radio chassis. This is where the potentiometer will be mounted. Here's the potentiometer that we're going to use. It has an on-off switch built into it and is a stereo potentiometer, so we can control the volume of both channels simultaneously. And here it is being attached to the angle bracket. The nice thing about the angle bracket is that we can adjust the position of the potentiometer in relation to the radio cabinet, and this will allow for proper placement of the radio knob. Here I am just dry fitting the radio knob onto the potentiometer. Okay, now it's time to wire up the audio cables to the potentiometer. Here we are stripping the wires back. And we'll go ahead and solder them onto the leads of the potentiometer. Here's the completed potentiometer with the audio leads and also the power leads going to the on-off switch. Everything is attached to the angle bracket. Now we turn our attention to wiring up the power leads. We use a terminal strip that we salvaged from the original wiring to attach our positive and negative rails. We run a set of wire leads to the Bluetooth board and to the amplifier board. We also run wires from the switch on the potentiometer and a set of wires that will eventually connect to the DC power jack at the back of the chassis. We also solder and twist together a pair of power cables that will go to the LED lights that will light up the dial. We locate the position of the DC power jack at the back of the chassis and mark it. We take measurements to ensure that it lines up with the audio input jack. Go ahead and drill a pilot hole. Then we enlarge the hole with a step bit. The DC jack is dry fitted, and then we run the wires out the back of the chassis and solder in the DC jack. The DC jack is now attached to the chassis. This DC jack is nylon and it insulates the power supply from the chassis. Okay, everything's hooked up and we're ready to give it a try. Okay, we've got all the amplifier parts and the control parts onto the chassis. Just to review, here is our Bluetooth board with the wire going out into the auxiliary input here, which then feeds into our on-off switch and volume control potentiometer, which then goes into our amplifier. All right. On the on-off volume control is our on-off switch. And I just have this double-sided taped into here right now. And that goes to power the amplifier, the Bluetooth board. We've got this wire coming out here that we're going to hook up LEDs later on. And that all comes out here through the back on this DC power jack, which we are going to hook up and try. All right, let me just connect the DC power jack here to our lab power supply. Turn this off. One way we're going to be able to tell that the power is coming to this is that we'll see this little red LED come on here on the amplifier. So let's go ahead and turn on our lab power supply. And what's going on here?
Enter Bluetooth.
Okay. There we go.
Connecting.
And we're connected. So let's go ahead and play some royalty-free music here. So right now I have the volume up all the way on the iPhone, the volume all the way up here on our volume control and on our master volume. So what I'm going to try to do now is make sure that the volume here works. Okay, both channels are going up and down. So I know that's working properly. Make sure this volume, this master volume is working. Okay, so what I'm going to try right now is I'm going to turn all these volumes up and make sure that we're not overdriving the speakers. And I don't think we are, but it's going to get a little loud here. Okay, so you can see that we were not overdriving the speakers. So hopefully we'll be able to leave this master volume all the way up. Let's play something here with a little more bass and see if it handles it. Okay, got our bass drop music on now. Okay, that seems to be handling it quite well too. Now these are not the speakers that we're going to use on the build. This is just a set of speakers I got from Goodwill. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we are probably going to start to have a look at the case and see what we need to do to either polish it or repaint it. Alright, well thanks for watching. Bye.